Hey everybody, it's Chainsaw Reacts with Andy, and we are here again with our review for Titan Season 4, and this is Part 2, Episodes 7 through 12, the final episodes of Titans ever. And we're both here once again to review. How are you, Andy? How are you doing today?
I hate HBO Max for canceling my favorite show.
I gotcha. We have some thoughts for sure. We actually haven't spoke about our thoughts for these final episodes.
On purpose.
So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens here, because we were kind of on the same page for part 1. We'll see what happens for part 2. We didn't review episode 6 at the time because it wasn't available, but we have all the episodes for the second half here. Let's just dive right in. So Andy, I want to ask your thoughts first. What were your overall thoughts, impressions of the final episodes of Titans?
Well, they didn't hold back. I feel like they really ramp up the second half of the season, and I think when you look at, like, again, they very much roll as chapters almost of like a whole book that I think works really, really well. And but I mean, again, I think that they brought up their A game. You know, even if season 4 has been really strong so far, I do think that with part 2, it really elevates what we'd seen previously. What about you? What were your overall thoughts on from the first time you saw them?
I thought they did a good job of maintaining the kind of structure they had built up within part 1 of season 4 with Brother Blood, Mother Mayhem, and really going further into that and not really holding back on the focus on Joseph Morgan, of course, his Brother Blood, because I think he's the standout. Like, I feel like just the way he portrays this character and the amount of time he's able to spend with the character, I think that was really appreciated, because they could have easily had Joseph not be on screen as much, and then over time we get breadcrumbs, but they allowed him to really just go all out with the character. And I feel like if you were happy with the portrayal of him as Brother Blood in the first half, you're really gonna like him in the second half for sure, some of the things he does. And I think overall they did a good job of balancing everybody in terms of their screen time and their story they're telling, because part 1 is a great setup, but part 2, there are some things in there that you're like, I wasn't expecting to go in that direction, and that's a surprise. What? So I feel like they did a good job of preparing us with part 1, how part 2 may go, but you'll still be surprised, but they did a good job of maintaining that in throughout the entirety of the season. And like Andy was saying, I feel like this is definitely the stronger season of the show compared to the previous one. So
it also helps that they have because, you know, the past few seasons of Fighters has had a lot of cast members, a lot where I'm like, how do we have time for all this? So it benefits that it's very much about these 6 players. So it's not something that we get like 5 new characters in the back half of the season that are like, you know, we're the new Titans or something like that. So it's very much, if you're a Nightwing fan, if you're a Starfire fan, if you're a Beast Boy fan, if you're a Raven fan or Superboy fan or Tim Drake fan, like, everyone gets their moments to shine, and it all culminates into the final episode of the series.
Which a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. What is the second thing we want to discuss without going into, obviously we're not going into spoilers, guys. Like, we're not doing that.
Yeah, I would say we can talk about our favorite episode or episodes, because for me, I know it's definitely 9 and 10 are, you know, 9 is because I think it's official now that they swapped around the airing schedule a little bit. So initially episode 9 was going to be 7, but now they moved so that it's Dudes, Where's My Car is now episode 9, and then the first episode we're getting back will be I think the episode that was supposed to be episode 9. So but it's gonna, you all will understand why they did it, because at first I was like, why are we doing this in the final season and switching episodes and so on like this? Because usually when networks and studios do that, some of us critics can be like, that's giving us like Firefly vibes when they were airing episodes out of order. But this actually makes sense. And what were some of your favorite episodes?
First of all, Let There Be Light. I just now realized
Let There Be Light.
Let There Be Light. I just now realized we're now all this time in, so it's gonna be jarring. But anyways, Let There Be was
Well,
like,
they can
why
see
am I?
they can see you either way.
Yeah, well, I was like, it looked kind of dark on my end. So my favorite episode. So, Dude, Where's My Gar is definitely a highlight for this season for a lot of reasons. Won't go into why, but that's an episode you guys should definitely be excited to look forward to. Just because in general we get more of course, based on the title, we get more of Beast Boy. It's a really interesting episode, and I think as somebody who has been kind of critical about Titans from its very beginning, I feel like they did a pretty, in my opinion, solid job of wrapping up the story with its final episode. There are, of course, a lot of opinions on how do you wrap up a show with 4 seasons and these amount of characters. How do you go about doing that? But for me, I felt like, okay, I think they stuck the landing in terms of this is a really good way to end in terms of what they were kind of establishing with this series. For other people, I understand that it's not, the ending they were hoping for. They expected other things to occur. But I mean, in regards to what they've been establishing since the beginning of season 4, the beginning of the show, I feel like this was a great finale. Because trust me, it could have fell apart because there was a lot of things they had to kind of juggle throughout the show. And then, of course, with season 4, and once you build up to that final episode. But I think each episode has its own unique thing. But I definitely do Where's My Gar, and the finale is definitely my ones that really stood out to me.
Also, they take advantage a lot with these final episodes with the airtime, because sometimes it'll be 41 minutes, sometimes it'll be 45 minutes. So, but this time that I think, I mean, I still wish we could have had like a full 1 hour episode per, for every episode this season, especially since they kind of knew that this was gonna be the final season. But like, I think they definitely take more advantage this time, and there's a lot they cover a lot of ground in the series finale, and which I think it's one of the strong. If I have to say about the series finale, out of all the DC TV finales we've had, I think this is one of the stronger ones. Because I wasn't very attached to the Supergirl one. Legends wasn't a series until they knew it was canceled. Black Lightning, it was a mixed bag for me. Arrows, I did really enjoy. I loved Smallville series finale, Gotham series finale, and the Titan one is definitely up there, absolutely. And it's these episodes they go by quickly. It's going to be like basically a month of all these 5 episodes. But overall, I think that this, it would be hard for me to find most Titans fans who love the show going, this isn't satisfactory. Like, I think there's a lot of things that they wrap up really, really well. And I mean, also, I think inferior. Let's say if somehow Titans season 5 were to happen somewhere, like got revived or something, they could easily pick up the plot thread and continue. So it's like you get the sense of like there's more stories. There's the adventure continues for these characters, but I think we can definitely tease that there is a lot of fun DC Easter eggs. There will be some visual cues that I think I would say this one is like, because I think these episodes drop usually at like midnight Pacific time on HBO Max. These are ones that you probably want to watch while you're fully awake, so you don't miss what's going on.
Oh yes, there are some times where you could be sitting there, and if you're not really paying attention, you're missing some things that are like, ooh. Well, obviously, we're not going to sit here and start saying, "Oh, make sure you're aware of this episode and this episode," because that's not
every
fair.
episode. I would say every episode has a decent amount of teasers, visual cues, and maybe something else. But every episode again. If anything, I think one big takeaway from this final season, when you watch these last 6 episodes, is you really feel, oh wow, like this is the show that should not have been canceled after 4 seasons.
I can see that point. I feel like Titans has been a show that has struggled, and I feel like they definitely have done, I think, their best stuff now for its final season in terms of storylines, in particular moments with characters. But I get the point, because there are people who have dropped off the series, and that's why I made the point within our review that we did for part 1 to say, look, this is, in my opinion, this is definitely the better stuff they've done so far. And I, it took me some time to finally get around to watch episode 6, compared to like watching the first 5 episodes pretty fast for the screeners. But for this, I got through this pretty fast because we were going to record this review. But it was like, okay, they knew what they were doing. I feel like they knew where they were heading when they were establishing the beginning. It felt like they had it.
Oh yeah, very much so.
Yeah, versus like the previous seasons where it feels like I don't know if they knew where they were heading when they started. At least for this season, it felt like, okay, here's we're establishing with the first 2 episodes or 3 episodes. We know where we're heading to the finale, which is now the finale of the show as well. So you feel that thread line. It doesn't feel like, oh, there's like any points like, oh, okay, so they didn't know what they were doing, so they had to rush.
That's a good statement, because like if some people felt like there's things that didn't live up to their expectations in part 1, there'll be things in part 2 that you will like, oh, they were paying attention. There's a reason for why A, B, and C went this way in part 1, and why D, E, and F gets executed the way it does in part 2. I mean, I guess it's so hard to talk about this because there's so much that we're not allowed to say. I guess because I do say it in a different review later on that there's definitely Dick Corey content coming.
Oh, yes.
And I know because Jordan is not a big shipper, so but I wanted to make sure that I represent the Dick Corey fandom, because you guys are my homies. I got you. I got you 100%. And one thing we can't talk about, we can't say the circumstances, but like, how dope is Tim Drake's costume in action?
Oh, yes. That's why I had to make sure to put it in the picture down there. It is definitely the best Robin suit that the show's ever done, in my opinion. That may be like, oh, what about the original Dick Grayson Robin suit? It's great. But once you see that in action, and here's what I'll say. I don't think they're going to do it. Obviously, I think with the cancellation of the show and they're not bringing it back, that there's not going to be any sort of spinoff or continuation. But if they were to announce a Tim Drake spinoff Robin show with this Robin, sign me up. Like, there is some really interesting moments you're like, I want this show. Like, I want to see this show. So that'd be really cool to see. I know, as Andy has stated, and I get the critique because it is true, there's a lot of Bat content in terms of Batman-related content. So I get the point of, okay, we already have a lot of stuff going on in terms of Bat-related stuff throughout the different media in terms of animation, live action. So I get it. But if they were to say, we're going to do a Tim Drake show and we're going to bring him back, yes. I want, because you just watch one fight scene with that suit. You'll be like, yep, I want this, because it's really well done. And I felt like the stunt choreography, I feel like has been pretty damn well in this season as well. Just to kind of,
I think the stunt team has been phenomenal since the beginning. Like, this is like,
but
some of the better stuff.
I think the lighting in some of the fights in this season, because a lot of times a lot of their fights are within the dark, like some dark settings, so it's kind of hard to see at times. But I feel like in this season, they've done a pretty good job of balancing the lighting so you can actually see everything that's unfolding. Because sometimes it's hidden in the dark, or kind of, it's kind of hard to see exactly in certain shots. But with the Robin stuff, oh yeah, like it's really, really cool. It honestly makes me feel like, okay, this is truly a Robin fight scene. Like, this feels like, okay, even though this Robin, of course, spoiler, redacted, but it feels like, okay, this is Robin when he's out fighting crime at night. You feel that essence. But I feel like, like the suit is great. Of course, we see the Brother Blood suit. They of course teased that.
Wait till you guys see when it first emerges, because it's a sequence that I'm not gonna lie, I screamed out loud because it was just so captivating. As someone who loves Joseph Morgan, like I'm happy that he gets to be the show's final villain, and because because I've been asking for Joseph Morgan to be in the DC universe for like 5-6 years. So again, when his casting happened, I think I lost my mind, because I'm like, finally they're taking advantage of his great talent. Overall, okay. What are your overall thoughts on part 2, but then also season 4 as a whole?
So overall,
I like hand gestures. Like, I can't. You made me sound so stupidly. A whole. A whole.
Oh. So overall, part 2, episodes 7 through 12, have been fun. Definitely some interesting moments, some questionable moments in terms of like, well, maybe that could have been shortened up a little bit for time, but I feel like that they're giving each character, as Andy had said, and I had said as well, that everyone has a moment to, grow their character. There are arcs for each character, it seems, for the most part. And I feel like the way they set up part 1, as I said, part 2 definitely continues that and delivers on what was established. And the thing on Joseph Morgan, as Andy was saying, Joseph Morgan, I think, did a great job of balancing this role, because there's a lot of moments in part 1, and then you'll see in part 2 that could be easily done over the top with another actor that would make it seem like, oh, this is cheesy. Okay, this person's doing too much. Joseph does a good balance, but then there's moments where you're thinking, okay, this could be seen as a cheesy moment with Brother Blood, but Joseph Morgan is balancing it and keeping it under control, because it could go over the top and be ridiculous. But he's such a great actor that he knows how to hold it back and not go too far, but to show you how much this man has changed. So he did a great job with that. But I think overall, it's been great. And I think season 4 as a whole has been the best season of the show. I do understand people's critiques if they didn't want to continue after a certain point with the show, whether it was 1 back then, because people drop off from season 1. If you're somebody who gave the show a shot to a certain point, I recommend maybe pick it up again, because I think that there are people that will enjoy this season that may not like the previous seasons, but obviously you need that growth. You need that character arcs, because it's not like you can skip to season 4 without watching the show and watch it. It just doesn't work, because you're missing out on a lot of context and a lot of character build up over time. But if you dropped off after season 3, I recommend trying to give season 4 a shot, because I think it's worth your time. And as Andy mentioned as well, the time length of the episodes is there, and they really have put more time into it, because they could easily have made these 40-minute episodes. But yet there are times where it's like, okay, this episode's 49 minutes. This episode's 55 minutes. And they've done that in the past, but it feels like this season they definitely try to be longer episodes each time, because they don't want to waste your time, but they also don't want to cut anything out. Because there's times where they could have cut stuff out, but it actually may matter later. So cutting it out would actually hurt it, because like, oh, yeah, that payoff doesn't hit because you cut out something previously that connects to it. So everything kind of had to stay in. But
and I will say this, that this show does not do what The Flash does, which is putting in random flashbacks. So, if you need to catch up on the show, you need to go watch season 3. But it will. But the thing is, like, season 3 isn't even that bad. Like, it's their darkest season, definitely, and I feel that was their final season of like getting their bad stuff out of their system. But it's like it's really watchable, and like there's an improvement for a lot of things as well. But I guess for me, I mean, I agree with everything you're saying. This is the best season of Titans. If I had to rank them, it's season 4, season 1, season 2, season 3. For me. But yeah, like for me, this feels more like the most Titan season it ever has felt. I wish there was more, but I'm glad we even got the season at all, and we got so much juiciness from it. So and I think that this show proves how comic book you can actually get, because look at the costumes, look at the character pulling, and look at how much they've established in this particular version of their DC universe. There's so much potential, and hopefully that will carry itself into what James Gunn is doing and other DC properties. So yeah, I can't wait for everyone to see the final episode starting on Thursday, April 13th, only on HBO Max. You get the first 2 episodes, and then we're running straight through till May 11th.
And you'll understand why they're dropping the first 2 when you start watching them.
It will make so much sense. Mm-hmm. It will make so much sense.
And I didn't know about the Switch, but the Switch I didn't even know about till just now as we're recording, because as we said, we didn't discuss, so I didn't know that. But I think if the episode, you said Where's My Gar was going to be first before the other ones, I think it would have been okay if you did that order, if they didn't switch it like they did, but I think it works better to wait, and you'll understand that when you get to Where's My Gar. You'll understand. But guys, have fun. Trust me. It's going to be an interesting ride for sure. I can't wait to see how people respond to the episodes, because for us, we can't just go ask, hey, what's it about the episodes? because no one's seen them.
So, we only have each other to talk to at this point.
Yeah, there's other people, of course, who have access, but it's not like we could go out and go Twitter, hey, what do you guys think of this? And then they're like, but first we spoiled it, so we can't do that. So it's like, so I'm curious to see how people respond. I think people are going to be happy. I feel like people are going to have a good time with this. And I'm really curious about how people are going to respond when the show is now done and they can go, okay, so what was everybody's favorite season? What was their favorite episodes from the back half of season 4? And was the wait worth? Because the time in between part 1 and part 2 that's the question.
That's the one thing that is kind of like a throw off initially, which is we've never had to deal with this for Titans. We usually, when the show comes back, it usually airs its entire season, no breaks, no hiatuses, and then we have to wait maybe like a year or two, a year and a half for the next season. But this was the firm where they kind of cut in the middle. But yeah, like when you watch the whole season from episode 1 to 12, you will feel, I think many of you are going to feel this is the strongest season. So. But let us know in the comments below what you're excited to see in the final episodes. We're not going to answer any spoiler questions, but we just want to hear what you're excited to see that you already know from trailers or interviews or clips or posters or what have you. So don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yeah, I had to make sure, obviously the poster behind us, but I had to make sure that middle image was from the trailer because I had to verify, like, okay, I just want to make sure. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys enjoyed our review. Maybe we'll do more of this from time to time if we're able to. This was fun to do. It's obviously fun to do something a little different to kind of collaborate in a sense. But I hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys enjoyed our review. And, of course, check out our website, Multiverse of Color. Andy, of course, is running the site, Multiverse of Color. Make sure you guys check out over there. I guess he'll be dropping up, I'm assuming, your written review.
Yeah, we have I have a written review that's in the works. We also have me and Vanessa from Times Podcast. We did one because we've been doing one for every season. So it's like, okay, let's just finish it. So, yeah, and I'm sure, will you be back with reactions for Titans?
No, I will not be back for reactions for Titans, but I probably will be discussing a certain thing that I won't say when it is, but when something happens, I probably will make a video about it. But I'll wait till the episode drops.
And then we will talk, and I'm sure we will talk about Titans on Endless Multiverse every week too. So
yeah, we'll definitely talk about the thing, which we'll discuss after ending the recording here. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. We will see you guys soon. Make sure also check out Endless Multiverse. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.